THRASH presentation, our first location was in Tram 1, and we also looked at the Tintao Temple, and so we all met up at the MTR station and got there 20 minutes early, but we kind of were late the whole time because another teacher was 30 minutes late. So we had to wait for an hour before we actually got to start anything.
Oh, Mr. Bryan.
And then we took the MTR to the Museum of History, which is in Chimchachoy. And then we took a bus to the Star Ferry and went to Central and had a really hard time finding the Chatter Garden.
Turns out it was like right next to the building we were at.
Wilfred, you don't need to do that right now.
The day is the
Your
Tintao
handout.
Temple in Tumon.
Thank you.
It is built in 1721. It is an old school site and it used to be a community hall. So Ma Zu is worshipped in this temple. She is considered the guardian of the sea and the giver of sons. And as you can see I'm not sure if you can see these two lines. They were written during Qianlong reign. So this is basically a hand-drawn floor plan of the temple. So this is Ma Zu, a big statue of her in the middle. And this is the golden boy and jade maiden. So they are a couple. They are considered they kind of serves around Ma Zu. So in this picture is the bell. It is also built in Qianlong during Qianlong reign in the Qing dynasty. And this is basically what it overall looks like in this side, and it just looks the same on the other side because it's too far, you can't see the statue. And in here, what they're doing is they're preparing for not a huge offering, but pretty much important offering of the day. So he is burning the incense. So when he burns the incense, the things inside, material inside kind of pumps up, which makes more smoke and more smell. That's how it actually works. Yeah. Oh, and this is where they burn paper. They sometimes burn white paper, or they would also burn golden paper to for the dead and stuff.
So our second stop of the day was in Chimchachoy to look at the Museum of History. And we went to see the Hong Kong Story, which is a permanent display that features 8 exhibits that show Hong Kong's development through time. And it's not only physically, but also culturally and economically. And it reflects different influences that geography and politics and wars had on the expansion of Hong Kong. And so our group decided to present on the last exhibit that we saw, called Modern Metropolis and the Return to China. And this exhibit just showed Hong Kong's rapid post-war expansion in housing, industry, finance, trade, and also population. So we got to look at different stalls and shops that helped to simulate the post-war economic and social conditions and situations. And it was nice because a lot of those are still very similar to today if you go to crowded areas in Causeway Bay or Wan Chai. And in this section there were 3 videos that we were meant to watch, but the videos alternated between showings in Chinese, Cantonese, and English. And they were all pretty long, they were all 10 minutes about. So we only watched one of the videos, and it was on natural disasters. And it talked about droughts in Hong Kong and why we have so many reservoirs and dams for fresh water. And it was really interesting, but it's not really related to what I'm talking about. And there was also an area about Sino-British negotiations, and it kind of covered the handing over of the Hong Kong island. And so we got to look at official documents and the conditions that Hong Kong was in when the handover occurred. And we got to learn about the housing estates that had to be brought up to accommodate for the switch in culture and everything. And this section just brought the entire exhibition of the Hong Kong Stories to a close, which I thought was fitting for this presentation because our current political predicament is really different from the museum. So 2 years ago, in Occupy Central, there was a pro-democracy umbrella movement that demonstrated the local anger at having to elect pro-Beijing chief executives. And 2 years later, quite recently, just a month ago, more unconventional, homegrown, pro-democratic lawmakers were elected, And the swearing in ceremony happened a few weeks ago, and it showed like the built up frustration that Hong Kong has festered after being passed from nation to nation, never getting their own governance. And we learned this in the museum because they had like the colonial days hall of governors and the switch in power and stuff, and there was never like a local Hong Kong face, like someone that the Cantonese really wanted to bring to power. There was never one of those occasions. So this is just a video of what happened like recently.
You can chain me, you can torture me, you can even destroy this body, but you will never imprison my mind. 議員宣誓係立法會嘅事務，立法會事務不容政府干預。
Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China.
强调的香港是中华人民共和国的一个特区，这点是非常明确的，毋庸置疑，也不会改变。
I just wanted to show this because, like as you saw from the video, some candidates went as far as to rip the oath. They're supposed to swear in with an oath, and people were changing it and like pledging allegiance to Hong Kong and saying, cursing China and saying that Hong Kong should be independent. And I think this goes to show that China's reclamation was not welcomed by all Hong Kong residents, unlike what the museum showed. And this caused me to believe that the museum might be in need for a newer 9th exhibit that shows the current situation in terms of politics and reflects Hong Kong's current sentiments, because the museum left us in an all-positive image.
Yeah.
Alright, so the third stop we went to was China Garden in the center. All of these pictures, well, they're pictures of buildings that were around China Garden. For example, here it's the base of HSBC, the main area. In the center of this area, there is what seems to be some sort of floor plan engraved on the floor. For example, what how large the base of the building was in, let's say, 1950s. And well, you can see this giant escalator too. In the back over here, there's a line up here. Essentially, well, there are 2 lines. You just don't see the other one up here. One is named Stitt. The other one, I think, Steven. Well, I researched about them, but it didn't really say what the purpose was of being a mascot. But here is a statue in, well, Statue Square. Commemorating a guy named Sir Hugh Barton, the former chairman of some random company some random company I never knew about in the beginning, called Jardine, Matheson and Co. And he might also be related to HSBC. Here is over here is a cenotaph, like another team earlier has presented before. It used to commemorate the people who died in like World War I, but because of World War II, they kind of also put World War II. And this up here, well, it was the former electrical building, but it was before that formerly the Hong Kong Cricket Club grounds from 1871 to 1975. But the reason why they moved to Wongnai Chung Gap in 1975 was because of World War II. During the Japanese occupation, people took over those grounds for shelter and, well, yeah, shelter. And, well, it became the former Legco, but it became the Legco building for some time, and then 2011 it became the Supreme Court, only for a few years before becoming what is now the Final Court of Appeal. Lady Justice, who is located on top of that building, is, well, a blindfolded woman holding a sword and a scale, which apparently means being judging or something like that. Yeah, that's it. We learned a lot of stuff.
Okay, I'm not sure if this is coincidental or fitting, but like the three destinations, they're like the story of Hong Kong. This resembles what happened a long time ago. This is what happened just before, and modern buildings is the present. So the thing is, I haven't really learned much about Hong Kong, but the way I've seen it has changed a lot. It might, but not exactly completely well. As to me, this was a facade for, could you turn back, umbrella, for this like lack of order is covered up by. Next. No, I mean, yes, this. It looks really beautiful. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Way to go, Drew.
Yeah.
And just adding up to what Wilfred just said now, like just now, in the HSBC building on the floor, it also shows the reclaimed lands, like where they are, like how when they're filled, like and like the reclaimed land, like in 1915 is like to here, and it shows it all. Yeah.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
No.
Yes.
No, wait, I just have a question.
Fine.
Do you think that Hong Kong is more like this and like clean and like actually like what put together, or more lack of order?
Well, like it.
This
This
is
just
areas of
completely
Hong Kong you're talking about?
wipes everything out, which is actually a good thing.
It's a good thing.
But if you see it, it cannot be unseen. However, this journey as a whole was quite interesting, seeing how things have changed.
I mean, like Hong Kong is like this. The chaos before, like it's Hong Kong people who caused it, not exactly.
But it's Hong Kong people.
Yeah, it's Hong Kong people.
So isn't that Hong Kong?
Yeah, but there are many people that doesn't agree on Occupy Central. Remember there was like yellow ribbon and blue ribbon that time. Blue ribbon is like they tell the police to like get them away in Central because like it's like blocking others, like they can't go to like work and they can't earn money. So it really depends.
So, I never said we didn't learn nothing, just to be specific. It answered. So, like, Tin Hau Temple, it was in Chun Wan. However, when we looked at it on Google Maps,
I don't know
there
why
were
they have
at least 5 Tin Hau temples. So, like, it's kind of something satisfactory, but like, you could learn more from it. And in all, this journey was about progression. How they went from this to what it is today.
like what he means is how they went from like traditional
From A to
alternate
B.
stuff and then like, to how westernized it's become. Yeah.
And all in all, Hong Kong is a success. And yes, that's it. And here's the proof that we won Starberry.
Okay.
There's also cat, because that was like the highlight of our day. Having the whole day of like cat.
It's not the highlight of my day. The highlight was the ice cream. The highlight of my day.
And on that conclusion from Wilfred, let's